WRHU.
Radio Hofstra University.
We're 88.7 FM WRHU. I'm Max Sacco. As we continue our Alum of the Week series this week, joined by Mark Weiner. Mark, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Max.
So first question here, just a little bit to get to know you. What did you do at your time when you were at RHU, and now what do you do in your professional career as well?
Well, besides become exhausted from spending all my time at the radio station, let's see. First, I started out as Islanders producer. That was my first management role at WRHU. I believe that was the 2014 season-ish, somewhere around there. So I got to work with Kinger and do all that kind of stuff and make the feature lists. And that's how I got heavily involved with the Islanders. Then the next year, I became the sports director for 2015. And that was, as a lot of people say, the hardest job I'll ever have and ever will have. Just because, managing everybody and dealing with all Hofstra and Islanders and the constant, events and stuff going on, there was always something happening. So that was certainly a tough challenge and prepared me for the real world. And I did basketball play-by-play. I mostly focused on basketball for Hofstra, but I did do a little lacrosse, some soccer, baseball, softball, stuff like that. And with the Islanders, I was one of the last student color commentators. My junior year was the last year that we consistently, the students did pretty much every game other than the road games with Kinger. So I was one of them. And then my senior year, I was the lead reporter. So that was the year the Islanders they won their first playoff series since, 90-something? Or no, 2002, something like that. But they won their first playoff series in a long time. It was the John Tavares overtime winner against Florida. That was awesome to be there and experience that with the team. So, yeah, I got to do so much at RHU, and it all prepared me for kind of what I'm doing in my pro career now. I'm the executive producer for Premier Networks. I'm one of the many ones that they have for a nationally syndicated radio show. And before that, I was an associate producer with the New York Mets radio network. So it was really fun to take all the stuff I did at RHU and take it to professional baseball and the Mets. And I am unfortunately a Mets fan. And it was really fun experience to work with them. I also worked for MLB.com a little bit right out of college, but everything I did at RHU really kind of helped me for where I am now.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, you're one of our more accomplished alumni from one of our recent graduating classes, and for sure did a lot at RHU. But now, Mark, I think an interesting question a lot of people want to know. Why'd you pick Hofstra in the first place? And then what also made you make that jump to go to WRHU? Because a lot of people can come to the comm school, but it takes a certain person to make that jump to radio.
So it was actually WRHU. That was the reason I even applied to Hofstra. I always knew I wanted to do something communications. In high school, I was big. We had a TV production class and a club, and I would do a lot of that stuff. So I knew that was the path I wanted to take. It was just a matter of how. So I don't even think I took a tour before I knew I really wanted to go, but I did take a tour. I saw the TV facilities, and that really got my interest because, at the time I was mostly doing television and production stuff. And then I found out you could work with the Islanders and you could do all this other sports stuff. And I was a hockey nut, and I still am. So just that opportunity was like, I can't pass this up. I can't go anywhere else. I had other options, but why would I pass this up? So it was actually not my first semester that I joined RHU. I actually met another WRHU alum in a class. I always intended on joining RHU, but I needed that extra push. I just kind of want to start my college career and then worry about it later. But he told me, join RHU, you would love it. You love hockey and all that stuff. And I did. And best decision of my life because, I'm not trying to slight Hofstra here by, the journalism program's great, but you get that extra boost from RHU. You get that stuff you don't learn by reading a book in class. You get to do stuff. You get to talk to NHL players. You get to do play-by-play. And I didn't only do sports. I also did Newsline. I was an anchor producer for Newsline. I hosted the morning show. So I felt I could come out of WRHU with a well-rounded, palette of skills that now I'm using today. I did a little video editing for RHU, but I did that in my classes. So I got to thank Hofstra for that. And I do that. Even though I'm a producer of a radio show, I still have to know video stuff to do all that. And, just the fact that, I work in more of a news role now compared to when I did sports, but because I did Newsline, because I did morning show, and because I did stuff in the sports department, it doesn't just have to be the on-air stuff. Even the behind-the-scenes stuff, it all prepares you for some sort of job, no matter what, avenue it is, news, politics, sports. It doesn't matter. It all applies.
Yeah, and you talked about skills a little bit. RHU teaches you a lot more than just like your textbook.
Yeah.
What exactly would you say are some of the best skills RHU taught you for now your professional career where you're an executive producer?
Huh. I mean, I don't want to just say everything, but I could go there. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is Adobe Audition skills, just editing stuff. The fact that I can do production and make promos for our show or intros because I did all of that for the Islanders, because I did all of that for Hofstra. That's a huge skill that I learned there. I learned from John Mullen the ability to make a log that we had to do for the Islander games, and just, even what a log was, just have the different spots and where they should go and where you should place them. I know that's a lot of radio talk, but spots means commercials. Sorry for the people who don't speak radio. But just to be able to do that and kind of know what a traffic department was. I had no clue. I figured, the traffic department, the people who tell you that the Holland Tunnel's clogged up. No, traffic means where the spots go in the log. So I had no idea what that meant, but John Mullen is somebody who actually had real world radio experience and taught you that. And obviously, when you go to talk about the staff at RHU, I can't not talk about Ed Ingles. Obviously, he passed away recently, but that man had the most remarkable influence on my career. I wouldn't be the person I was or the media professional I am today without Ed. And Pete Silverman has done a very good job of taking over for Ed. You'll never replace Ed. You never truly replace the guy, but Pete has done a very good job with that, and I worked with him a little bit as well. So the staff, the professionals at RHU definitely help, and just all the skills you learn, the production, the logs, just talking, just the ability to speak. I know it sounds stupid, but you get all this microphone time. You get all this time in front of a mic, so it's like, yeah, I know how to be a public speaker now. I know how to speak to my boss even if you don't go into radio. You just know how to communicate better because you're communicating with an audience. And even if you want to say nobody's listening, that's always the joke. People are listening. Someone's always listening.
Someone for sure is always listening, because we still got the same joke today, even at RHU, exactly. Even in the middle of a pandemic. But now, Mark, the big final question. RHU gets a lot of new people every year. They're a big staff. You know this. I know this. A lot. When you come into RHU, people from around the country, around the world. What is the best piece of advice you have for a new member joining the sports department or even radio as a whole so they can get their feet running right away?
Do everything and savor the moment, because you have to realize, especially with sports, and I know it's different right now with the pandemic going on, and I feel bad for you guys that you have to deal with that and might not have a normal experience, but hopefully it gets back and you have basketball and the Islanders will come back. But when things get back more to normal, just savor it. Just know that you're in an NHL locker room. Don't act like you're in an NHL locker room like you're some fanboy. Act like the professionals you are, but just always take a moment and be like, wow, I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm getting to talk to NHL players, and your goal's always going to be to get back there one day after you graduate. And not everyone does. Not everyone gets to that level, and that's just the sad reality of our business. But I think the biggest thing is not only are you learning, because learn everything you can, and don't just do the on-air stuff. Do the behind-the-scenes stuff, learn how to cut audio, because you're going to start back down there. The thing about RHU is you get all the way here, and then you start right back down here when you get to the real world. So you kind of have to remember there's going to be a culture shock after you leave. You're not going to be the top guy anymore. You're going to have to cut tape. You're going to have to make cut sheets again. You're going to have to do all that stuff you hated doing when you were a senior. Be prepared for that. But because you learned everything at RHU, you're prepared for that. And you should be good at everything. Don't just be good at play-by-play. If that's what you want to do as your career, be good at being an analyst. Be good at being a talk show host. Be good at updates. Be good at production. Just be good at stuff and learn everything you can and ask questions. And I know for me, the seniors and the juniors when I was coming in were really influential also, because they would teach the younger kids what they should be doing, how to do this certain stuff. So lean on the elders, lean on guys like John Mullen and Pete Silverman. And again, just say, wow, I'm doing this. Just, remember, this isn't going to be the peak of your career. This isn't going to be the best thing you ever do, but this might be the most fun you ever have, to be able to call Division I basketball and play with the Islanders and do all that kind of stuff. So work your little behind off, do as much as you can do, get towards the top of RHU so you can do those fun things. So this way, not only are you learning, but you're having an amazing time doing it, and you're creating memories that are going to last you a lifetime.
I think that's the perfect note to end on. Mark, thank you very much again for joining us on Alum of the Week.
No problem, Max. Thanks.